So welcome back to the channel. My name is Gavin. On this channel we do photography, electronics, music, anything that's creative and a creative process. And today I've got my Nord drum machine, which is a synthesizer based drum machine, handmade in Sweden. So we're going to do a little bit of electronics to make a portable music studio and make some music out of this guy, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you want to take your synthesizer, any kind of electronic equipment, make it portable, take it out to the garden or take it to the woods, anywhere. And that's what I'm doing here with this drum machine, and I'm going to make some tracks and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So if you've got a different type of synthesizer or a different type of drum machine, this video is also for you, and I'll show you how to make all that gear portable and what you would need, what kind of rig you would need. To make your synth and your drum machine work together, you're going to need a sound recorder, something that can handle 4 tracks. I'm using a Zoom recorder, but you could use any other brand as long as it has 4 inputs. Mine has 2 XLR inputs, which double up to 2 jack inputs, and then on the microphone side of things, on the side of that mic, has a 35mm jack where you can plug in a stereo input. So basically this recorder has 2 stereo inputs for recording. Now it's important to actually set your recorder to 4-track so that you have the individual tracks, so that you can change levels in your DAW, on your piece of software like Logic or Ableton Live or whatever you're using. So to bring your levels correctly, or maybe you want to add effects like reverb or whatever in post. In my video here I didn't do any of that. I did everything in the field, and what you're going to hear is the actual track that I made while I was in the garden, just with the equipment that I had, with the Zoom pedal and the Arturia synthesizer. Basically all this is just for fun, and I would recommend doing it for fun and not take this too seriously. It just means to get out of the house and try something different and maybe get into nature, so it will inspire you to actually make music and to just, you know, get inspired by your surroundings and get out of your studio or get out of your home or wherever it is, and just to enjoy what's around you. So this is the Zoom recorder, the N5, takes 4 inputs. I plugged my synth in here, my Nord drum up the top here, my headphones in the side, and this is the adapter I've used, which goes into the power up into the Nord drum and then down into the USB battery. So to make your equipment portable, you got to look at the voltages of your synthesizer, your drum machine, or whatever kind of electronic equipment that you want to bring with you. Also, what's important is to look at the current usage. So anything that's kind of 500 milliamps is pretty much okay. Up to an amp is going to be a bit more complicated, because you also need a stronger battery, and your converter, or your step-up converter, will also need to be able to handle that. The step-up converter that I'm using in this video would handle 1 amps pretty okay, but somewhere between 1 amp and 500 milliamps is perfectly fine, or lower of course. So the Nord drum machine and the Arturia Microfreak is a perfect combination, and I'm also using an effects pedal, because the Microfreak synthesizer doesn't really have effects built in, and that's kind of important. You need a Zoom pedal for effects with the synth, which is the Microfreak, and I just play a sequence on that, and I just drum to it, and it's kind of a nice way to just use the Nord drum out in nature, wherever you want. Just some sticks and a battery, and you can put all this in the bag, and you can bring it anywhere. You just need your stand. It's a pretty simple setup. So this is the zoom pedal. This one's an MS70 CDR. It's the older one. They have a newer one. What's great about this pedal is that you can download the Zoom Effect Manager and decide what effects you want on it. So in the case of a synth, you want kind of delays, reverbs, modulations, that kind of stuff. The amp simulations and bass stuff is not the most useful maybe for a synth. I mean, the thing is, you can customize this with up to the wazoo of different effects on it, and you can chain them together. So you can have, this one has delay, pitch delay, let's go back to the beginning, reverb, and you can have them in different ways. So that's pretty cool. So that little software is free to download. You just go to zoomeffectsmanager.com or just search for it in Google. But definitely a zoom pedal is essential for any kind of synth that doesn't have effects built into it. It's pretty straightforward. Runs on 2 AA batteries, or you can run it off USB power as well. Has got the old micro USB input in there. The new one has the USB-C, but I'm not sure if it works with the Zoom Effects Manager. Yeah. So here's the entire setup. The drum stand I carry separately. The North drum is in here, the synth is in here. I have my battery here, which is a 10,000 milliamp battery. A 5,000 milliamp battery also works perfectly fine with this setup. It gives you quite a number of hours. That I've got my sticks in here, the Zoom recorder in my box, the pedal. Let's just take out. Now, the good thing about the Arturia Microfreak is it just runs off USB, so no conversion is needed for that synthesizer. While this one, you can see the voltage up here. Now if I can, let me just put that down here and see if I can just get that a close up. You can see it needs 12 volts, 500 milliamps. So that's quite doable with a converter like this. I have my case, I have it open here so I can show you. That's basically a 3D case that you can print out. I'll leave a link in the description for that on my blog. Now, it's very simple how this works. You just get a plug that would fit into whatever synthesizer or drum machine. I used it from an old adapter and I soldered it in here, and then an old USB cable that I wasn't using anymore, and I just cut it and stripped it down. What's important is, before you even plug any of this in, and you do this at your own risk, I'm not responsible if you blow up your equipment, is that you set your voltage. And there's a little pot in here, or a trimmer, that you need to use to set with a screwdriver, and you need to measure your voltage coming out with a multimeter. And if the voltage is correct, then it should be safe to use, because this will hold its voltage. So you need to adjust this until you get the correct voltage by using a multimeter at the end of your cable. So for this case it was 12 volts. So I'm going from 5 volts to 12 volts. You can also do to 9 volts, whatever voltage it says on the back of your synthesizer or drum machine or any electrical equipment that you're going to use. So that's the first thing, your voltage you need to set correctly. The next thing is to be aware of how many amps that you require. So as I said, up to about 1 amp is kind of fine on this. It does handle more, but you've got to take into consideration how heavy your USB battery will be, and will it actually output that amount of current that you would need to drive it. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give a thumbs up. And if you've any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and hopefully I'll get to them. I hope to see you on the next one, and don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.